that's the thing about this team that Stellenbosch must be worried about. We have to be worried about that number 9 position from a perspective of Orlando Pirates. If you don't shut them down, if you don't manage that transition from wide play to central play with Orlando Pirates, you will get hurt. It's guaranteed.
Rasmus Højlund, thunderous. It's an absolute net buster.
Hello and welcome to the Diski preview show where we give you nothing but the best in the world of football. My name is yours truly, Mr. E, and I've got my guest here in the studio. Some say he's a football prophet. Some say if you see him playing in that field of play, he will reduce you to tears.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you Mr. Mo. Are we rolling the drum then?
Hey, Mr. E.
How are you, man?
I should be welcoming you back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I should be. Yeah, you should be welcoming me back. Eh? I had a sabbatical.
You went on a sabbatical?
3 weeks.
Well, since you've been gone, we've held it down. We have a new member of the team, Ulen. He was part of,
I saw him on the
last
show.
week. Yeah,
that was brilliant work, guys. Brilliant work.
And there's so much more to be excited about.
Yeah,
I heard from a little bit. There's also a round table that's coming soon.
Yeah, it's coming. I think the next episode is going to be a round table. I think. Yeah.
We can't make such promises.
Yeah, no, we're going to speak to our producer and try to beg him to say, "Boss, we need to." So is it going to be me, you, Len, and Utisha Wetiski?
That's a panel, that one, eh?
Yeah, that's a panel.
That's a panel. But also that panel will be very interesting because Utisha Wetiski said some things about Sundowns at the start of the season, remember? But yeah, we'll come back to that. That was the last round table.
Yes.
That was the last one.
Most certainly. We're looking forward to having a great show with the one and only Mr. Mo. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to be taking a look at the big game that's happening over the weekend. It's the MTN 8 final where Orlando Pirates... Ezgama Kepula, they will be locking horns with Stellis. Is Stellis the student?
No, that's University of Pretoria.
Okay, so Stellis is simply Stellenbosch. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to be taking a look at this big final. As promised, today we're taking a look at the big clash. It's happening at Durban. Gagasini. It's Orlando Pirates eyeing the MTN 8 and they have to negotiate past Stellenbosch. Do you think Stellenbosch is going to do it this time?
Before I get into that, don't forget, if you're watching this, throw us a comment below. Make sure to drop us a like. And if you love what we do, subscribe. And if you haven't joined the Betfred family, visit betfred.co.za for a one-time offer. If you sign up with us, you'll get up to 500 free spins and a deposit match of up to 5,000 Rand. You heard that right. 5,000 Rand of deposit match. So go check that out. Mr. E.
Why do you sound so nervous?
I'm nervous because... When you talk,
don't worry. At the end of the game, you're gonna have a winner.
No, Mr. E, I'm nervous because when you talk of a neutral venue, there's a team from the Western Cape, there's a team from Gauteng, but KZN. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Speaking of neutral venue, that's very neutral.
Yeah,
that's very neutral.
But I think the word neutral venue might only apply to Stellenbosch because Orlando Pirates has got a very big fan base, almost just like Kaizer Chiefs. And I can assure you, in Durban, maybe 70, 80, 90% of the fans that are going to be in that stadium will be
Orlando Pirates fans.
Yeah, and then you get another 5% of you know who.
but Mr. E, you have to be honest, the atmosphere won't be the same as Orlando Stadium. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
And another thing is that we're seeing two teams that, for me personally, I've said it before, this season, these are the teams to be excited about.
Yeah.
Mamelodi Sundowns obviously is a team that's benchmarked. It's the Manchester City, it's the Bayern Munich of the league. It's the team that everybody's expecting to go in and win it again and again and again. Yeah. And then you get to a competition like the MTN 8 where Orlando Pirates have now cemented themselves as the team to beat because now they've won it twice in a row. They want to make it a third one, so a treble of these trophies. Now they're in the final again.
Yeah.
And
this time for I think is it the third time in a row?
Yes. Yeah. So might I remind you that the journey here wasn't that easy because they started the journey off against Cape Town City.
Yeah.
They went on again and played against another big opponent. In fact, Cape Town City was not their first match in the competition. I just have to go check my bearings. But the conversation. Wait, I want to check. Was it Kukune? No, Kukune played Cape Town City.
Yeah.
Then Orlando Pirates played Super Sports United. So imagine the journey going against Super Sports United, then playing Cape Town City
of the competition.
And you just started your season.
Yeah.
Because this was the curtain raiser for the season. I mean, to meet those teams at the start of the season is a big ask. That's a very big journey for Orlando Pirates to take, to make sure that they beat SuperSport United, to make sure that they navigate past Cape Town City, to find themselves in the final against Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing is, if you look at the other side of the coin, for Stellenbosch, they had to start against TS Galaxy, but the semi-final was against Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I'm making mention of this journey is because a lot of us sat there and thought to ourselves, there's no way Stellenbosch is going to make it past Sundowns. As much as a lot of people were doubting the capability of Sundowns after the departure of Rulani Mokwena, you still have to give Mangoba his credit to say, fine, it was still early for him. It was the start of his season, and to lose 1-0 both home and away to Stellenbosch, it's a big statement for Stellenbosch. It's not a bad statement for Sundowns. They're not in the final by mistake. They're not in the final by mistake. So every year we come around. I mean, when Pirates won against Amazon, people were like, but obvious. You understand? When we come into this conversation, it's not the same conversation. You can't even say that it's in the same breath. Because even if you look at how Stellenbosch have started their season, Mr. E, do you have any complaints about their performances?
Well, I think they've won one, drawn one, and lost one so far.
Yes.
But at the back of my mind, I'm saying they've got their eyes on the MTN 8 final, and they wouldn't want to lose any players through maybe yellow cards or red cards or maybe injuries or something. I think Barker right now, Steve Barker, all that he wants. Remember, they've tried to win silverware in the past few years. It has always been this close. But this time around, they want to try and make sure that they get something into their cabinet. And what a way to do it against Orlando Pirates
100%.
at Moses Mabhida Stadium.
100%. I mean, it's one of those things that, like you're saying, they've always been there. You know, they've always been part of the conversation. Top 3, we're talking about them in the league. We're talking about them now in the MTN 8. And that's the thing that they've been lacking. But this season, you see how they started off. Don't forget they had to play the CAF Confederations qualifiers. They had to play the MTN 8. And they also had to play EPSL, my God. So it was the journey in Africa plus the journey locally with the 2 tournaments. The same thing with Orlando Pirates. Don't forget, they also had to play qualifiers with CAF Champions League, where they made it past Disciples 4-0, beating them at home. And when they went up against Johnny Galaxy, a lot of people are saying, Johnny knocked them out last season.
They might do the same
thing.
They
might do the same thing. But figure, Botswana, 2-0. They came back home. They continued that form. They won 1-0. So these are 2 teams that, first of all, have played for much of this season already. They've played MTN 8, they've played continentally, one Confederations, one Champions League, and both of them have been playing in the PSL. And I was looking at their form, and I was saying these are 2 teams that have started this season like a house on fire. You understand? Orlando Pirates last time out, obviously, they went up against the Richards Bay. It was a slender win, 1-0. But it shows you how much we expect from Pirates now. That Mamadali game, we're expecting 2 or 3 goals.
But one thing that I've seen again with Orlando Pirates, and by the way, they've had a perfect start to the season. They've got, they managed to pick, I think, all the 3 points. But one thing that I will tell you about Orlando Pirates, they will try and grind a result where possible. Even if it means by 1 goal to 0. If I remember correctly, the game against Richards Bay, where Udlamini had to come from the bench and score that equalizer through a set piece. So, and if you look at the way they play, their game plan is varied, man. They can attack from the left to the right through the midfield. They will try to play set pieces, and also you have the likes of Lebohile. Lebohile is also, he can play it on his own. He can, like, say, you know what, I want to go out and score. Individual brilliance. So I think they are a very, very, very old machine.
I mean, Mr. E, when the league starts, I mean, they've only played 3 games. They've scored 6 goals already in the league. They have 3 wins. They're the only other team in the league to have a perfect start behind Mamelodi Sundowns. Obviously, the other team was, I think, Sundowns. Who did Sundowns face this past weekend?
Sundowns faced Kaizer Chiefs.
Kaizer Chiefs.
How can you forget that?
Ish.
A lot of things happen in that stadium there.
I don't want to touch that story.
A lot of people about a lot of things. But one big question, if we had to go back into the weekend, I know we're coming from one big weekend. We're getting into another big weekend. Was that an offside or not? The second one that I'm going to ask you, was that a goal or not?
Mr. E, depends.
From your own assessment.
It depends what your bet slip says.
Well, if it's Betfred, it says you are a winner. Whatever it is.
So it depends on what your best slip says. If your best slip says Sundowns win, you don't really care about am I offside. But if your best slip says Kaizer Chiefs win, you really care am I offside.
Inking again, man.
So back into this conversation, Mr. E, Orlando Pirates in the league are also looking good. 3 wins out of 3. Very impressive games they've played. And you know one thing about them so far this season is that they've been value for money ever since the season has started.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
You're looking at them
Starting
starting.
bank.
Yes. Chippa United, win.
Yeah.
Polokwane, win.
Yeah.
And to show you the significance of Polokwane,
Yeah.
Stellenbosch just played Polokwane.
Yeah.
They drew.
1-1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Polokwane is not just another team.
Yeah.
You
Hey, it's
understand?
got the likes of Apollits.
Exactly.
Rise and shine.
It's not just another team. So
Yeah.
I mean, I was listening to a statement I saw on social media from Steve Kompela.
Yeah.
And he was saying, hey man, the league is no longer the same. Pirates say Yavuga.
Yeah.
Or let me change it around. Pirates say Vugile.
Yeah.
Chiefs Yavuga.
Exactly. Correct.
And you still have the challenge of Super Sports United,
Yeah.
Stellenbosch, Cape
Yeah.
Town City, Polokwane City, Kukune United.
Yeah.
There's so
They're
many.
all there. Amazulu.
There's so much quality in this league, and that's
Yeah.
one thing that we've been crying for many years.
Yeah.
This is top flight football, and at times, when you watched EPSL, you didn't feel like it was top flight because of bad first touches, sometimes horrible passing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we were too over reliant on the long ball.
Yeah.
Now you can speak about Mfukeng.
Yeah.
You can speak about Usaleng.
Yeah.
Players who put the ball down and then they'll maneuver into the midfield.
Yeah.
You can talk about a counter attack. You can talk about teams playing possession football.
Yeah.
Because now these things are starting to gel into the
Yeah.
top flight of South African football.
Yeah.
And someone was asking me like, why does this league look different this year? And it's not just the graphics.
Yeah.
But it's mostly also what we're seeing on the pitch.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot more confidence from teams.
So much great football on display.
We're seeing a lot more goals coming in from inside the box, not being headed,
Yeah.
but from inside the box,
Set
ball
pieces.
being worked into the box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what we've been waiting for. We've been
Yeah.
waiting for a league where we can sit here and say the MTN 8, I
Yeah.
couldn't predict it when it started.
Yeah.
With Kukune in it,
Yeah.
with Polokwane in it, with Sundowns,
it's not-
Pirates, Stellenbosch,
It's not
Cape Town
clear
City.
who's going to take it.
Exactly.
And even right now, when Orlando Pirates takes aim at Stellenbosch, I know on paper, Orlando Pirates looks like it's the better team. But one thing that I'm going to tell you, Steve Barker will not think so. He's
But
going to have something. He's going to have something else on his mind.
Mr. E,
Yeah.
I'm going to say just 3 things. Number
Yeah.
1, no losses in the last 10 matches for Pirates.
Yeah.
Number 2, no goals conceded in the last 3 matches.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get to number 3.
Don't
The
you think
first
that
team-
can be scary?
The first team to score in 7 out of their last 8 matches.
Yeah.
That is Orlando Pirates for you this season.
So defensively, they've done very well.
So it's not just
But,
defensively, balance, like
Yeah.
like you said, you have 2 capable wingers. You have you know what I love most about the Pirates?
Yeah.
This is what I love most about Orlando Pirates.
Yeah.
If they have a number 9, bacala number 9 bathi Kintwana Hambo
Yeah.
yodlala. Ayisebenzi,
Yeah.
Magopa.
Yeah. Again.
Different approach.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So we can switch from now we're trying to play it Spanish.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
sifuna ukuyifaka
fluid.
eboxing siyifake
Siyayibheka,
netini.
manje,
Ayisebenzi.
siyayibheka.
You're playing it through your wingers. So
Yeah.
you're playing it through Mufokeng, you're playing it through Saleng.
Yeah.
The goal is not coming. Okay,
Yeah.
no, this is not working.
Yeah.
Mufokeng, I'm gonna need you to drop inside.
Yeah.
Hoto,
Pick
I'm
up
gonna
the-
need you to overlap.
Yeah.
Magopa off the bench into
Yeah.
the play.
Yeah.
Chigi cross comes in, goal
Yeah.
is in the back of the net.
That's it.
Magopa is a poacher.
Yeah, he's a goal poacher.
He's a goal
All
poacher.
that he knows is to score goals. That's his job.
Don't let a
Done
ball
and
loose
done
in the
with.
box.
Yeah.
Magopa uzovela from somewhere.
Yeah.
At the net. So that's the thing about this team that Stellenbosch must be worried about. We have to be worried about that number 9 position from a perspective of Orlando Pirates.
Orlando
If you
Pirates.
don't shut them down,
Yeah. They'll
if you
hate
don't manage that transition from wide play to central play with Orlando Pirates,
Yeah.
you will get hurt. It's guaranteed.
Yeah, just like that.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's how I say they got
Yeah.
it this far in this
Yeah,
competition.
but there's been a worry from Jose Ribeiro, the coach of Orlando Pirates, because he's saying he's not too sure on the fitness of Munapuleng, Saleng, and also Unda. And those are 2 key players that he would want to have fit when they take aim at Stellenbosch. Because Unda has been the cornerstone of that back line at Orlando Pirates. At the same time, Usaleng has been one of the go-to guys for goals in that front line of Orlando Pirates. So these will be 2 key people that he's going to need.
Mr. E, he does need those 2 key players, but like I said, Ipenche Pirates is one that you cannot underestimate because there's enough players to go around.
Yeah.
There's enough players to go around.
Yeah.
Even if we worried about
Konusbisi.
Konusbisi.
Yeah, he was playing there and I was so impressed with his play.
What about Chilpelto?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So Pirates right now, I think when you talk about squad depth, it's always easy to talk about squad depth abroad and say, hey, they have Kevin De Bruyne, they have Gundogan, they have. But even in the Orlando Pirates aside, I mean, the likes of Gilberto, they have the depth. That's what I'm trying to say. They have the depth. They can always go into the bench for Abo, Lamini, Sibisi.
Yeah, I saw Kabelo, he came in there and scored a goal.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they always have a plan B and a plan C and so on. They never run out of options.
And that's the thing. The magic of the Diski Challenge, if you look at teams that have embraced players that have come through the Diski Challenge, they now have all of a sudden a lot more options in attack, a lot more options in midfield. We're starting to see that richness coming into the teams because you don't always have to rely on the transfer window to sign players from outside.
Yeah, you can just promote from your from your juniors.
And that's the thing about Orlando Pirates. They used to send Abo Seleng out on loan to Abo Swallows and all those things. And that was before they got to that they were strong enough to say Ngangena we live in your Pirates and be the main man because at the time Uloch was the main man.
Yeah.
So now you look at Orlando Pirates. I mean, we've had this conversation about Orlando Pirates for weeks now.
Yeah.
Ulen has had it, Utisha has had it.
Yeah.
And we don't revolve around one player. Which is something that I feel like was needed at Pirates.
Yeah.
Where Pirates is a big institution. We can't always mention the same name.
Always talk about Lodge.
You understand?
Lodge.
So now we are sitting here and we're saying we don't even know where the danger is going to come from a Pirates perspective.
Yeah.
But all we know is that the strategy and the philosophy that's been put out.
Yeah.
Like I said, if it doesn't work with the wingers, he just switches it around. Because he knows, okay, let me start with Mabasa. Mabasa is going to be Mabasa looks like a player who was converted from a 10 to a 9.
Yeah.
So he's not shy.
He wants to be there right in the box.
He's not shy to collect the ball on the feet. He's not shy to receive the ball with his back to goal and turn around and find a winger. You understand? Omahopa is the kind of man who uzovuleli ball at one touch, angene boxing, he's expecting you to throw it in there. He wants to run. He wants to header.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about the dynamism of Orlando Pirates. Jose Ribeiro has built, I think in this season, he said it previous seasons, yes, he was working towards it.
Yeah.
But I think now he has the crop of players he's always been waiting for.
Yeah.
He has... I mean, one thing I like about Pirates, when you look at them versus Kaizer Chiefs and Sundowns, you look at this team, you're not seeing a lot of Leo Pume Argentina, Leo Pume Brazil.
Yeah, Leo Pume Uruguay,
You're still seeing the local names.
The Kasi flavor is still there.
But the goal is being achieved.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
They don't have to spend millions and millions to reach their goals.
No, they don't. And that's the one thing I've always argued with Utisha with Disk.
Yeah.
If you have the right philosophy behind the team, it doesn't matter where the players come from. You don't rely on the individual brilliance.
Yeah.
You have to make use of the talents. And the one thing I love about Ribeiro is that he has this way of knowing what each player is good at. So he will know what in this match, maybe he makes the decision go to Mabasa.
Yeah.
Because I know in this match he will excel. If he doesn't excel in 60 minutes, there's no problem.
Yeah. He's got a second
he has a second option
to take care of.
And one thing about Dion Hoto, utility player of note.
Yeah.
Because if you look at him in this position there by left back now, sometimes you see him running through the midfield. Sometimes you see him overlapping. He's such an instrumental player.
He's a workhorse.
He's such an instrumental player.
The entire 90 minutes is going to be busy.
If I was a coach and I had
and one thing about Dion Hoto, normally when we have these conversations with other pundits, just like us, Dion Hoto, if only he could use both legs. Because right now I know he's left-legged. And I gotta tell you, he's got a lot of precision in that left leg.
Yes.
He can score set pieces. He can give you pinpoint passes. But the right leg. If only the right leg was, if only rather he could use the right leg, he would have been a very brilliant.
Mr. E, let me counter that argument with just making an example from the weekend.
Yeah.
Liverpool played Wolves, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
In that game, both those goals came from the left side. There was a missed opportunity that came from the left side where Saboslai hit the goalkeeper, and the first goal where Konato scored came from the left side.
Yeah.
There was crosses that came from Andrew Robertson.
Yeah.
So you look at Dion Hoto. If you give the team enough space, or if you control the ball long enough to allow him to get into a position where he can use that left foot, then you have a deadly combination. That's why Mahopa will not lose Ispani or Hoto Accord.
Yeah.
Because you need a player like that.
The supply will always be there in reach.
You need a player like that because what they're about a left back like Uhoto. If it happens that maybe you get an injury in the midfield that you can't have another. You don't have another midfielder on the bench.
Yeah.
You can move Hoto there and put someone else at left back.
Yeah, and I think they've done that before at Orlando Pirates. I think we've seen them playing almost like a
Left
midfielder,
wing,
but a little bit
left back.
a defensive midfielder,
Yes.
just somewhere there. You know.
That's the kind of player. I think if you ask the coach now, which player do you select first? Which
Yeah.
player when you're selecting your team?
Yeah.
Mauraba, Makama,
Yeah.
so which player do you spin? He probably just skips him. He just goes around him. Yeah.
Maybe the other ones.
Not
he's
the
going to
Hot.
remain there.
It's very crucial.
Yeah, but on the other side, Stellenbosch, I know there is a gentleman by the name Umujela. I think is quite lethal in front of goal. He's one of the guys to be, or other players to be, who are definitely going to threaten the Orlando Pirates defense. If CBC is going to be playing, I know he's going to be playing overtime.
I think the problem there is Umujela picked up a knock against the Polokwane.
Yeah,
That was around the 71st minute, so we're not sure
if he's going to be fit.
If he's going to be fit for this match, but he is quite crucial to the game. I mean, he did score a goal, and he's been value for money when it comes to Stellenbosch ever since the departure of Reyners, who scored on the weekend against Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that game there. Let's not open up heel tones. So many things happened. So many horrible things from a Kaizer Chiefs fan perspective happened on that weekend. That's why I'm saying it was a very big weekend. We're getting into another very big one now at the Moses Mabhida Stadium.
Yeah, but Mr. E, when it comes to Stellenbosch, I think one of the main things about this team is how they keep the ball.
Yeah.
They're not quick to rush into the final third. Sometimes I've seen them build up, even when in situations where you don't feel like they should be building up.
Yeah.
But one thing I love most about them, in possession, they spread the pitch.
Yeah.
If you watch them play, the moment the ball goes to the left, the two centre backs are spread wide at the back.
Wide,
and you have one of the other players on the other side making sure that the pitch is nice and open.
Yeah.
You have a lot of dynamism in midfield, but also the intelligent play up front. I think one thing about a player like Reyners, so when you look at how he came up via Stellenbosch and what his whole football is like. He reminds me of Shalule is very intelligent. And he's a player who was able to pick pockets. Like Moutiapeg Uvelala. You know what I mean? And that's where the ball is going. So Reyners, I think for him to be picked by Mamelodi Sundowns for that similar position to Ushalulile, it was a nod to say this guy is very intelligent. And he's able to move where his teammates are trying to get the ball to. So I mean, you look at Steve Parker's side, very rigid, 4-4-2. You understand? He doesn't want any mistakes. He likes the balance. And, the way they play their football, they spread the pitch in attack. They shrink the pitch when they're defending. They make sure that they play a mid-block. And then they don't want you to running through the midfield. They don't want you running through, the most crucial spaces. So they're always trying to get teams to play wide. You understand? So I wouldn't be shocked if Orlando Pirates also approach this game with Makgopa from the beginning. To say, you know what, we know that these guys are going to want to push us wide. Let's see if Makgopa will be able to get some crosses, and then let's see what happens from there. Especially because defensively, I mean, it's been one of the most sound teams available in the PSL. So I think from that perspective, that's what makes Stellenbosch so dangerous, and that's what gave Sundowns so much trouble when they played against this team, because they're also comfortable, very much comfortable off the ball. They're able to sit back, play a low block, play a very compact style, make sure that there's a 4-4-2. If you go to the left, it becomes a 4-5-1, so that they have 5 men in the midfield, so they can push you up.
They can push you up.
So if you try to, so it's been one of those things where it's a team that has a lot of balance. They're able to manage, a low block very well. So I wouldn't be shocked if Uriviero comes in and says, you know what, I'm going to start with a big number 9. I'm going to play less wide. I'm going to get my fullbacks to go up. I'm going to tuck in my 2 wingers. I'm going to try shoot from outside the box. I'm going to try cross it into the box. So I think that's what you will do. But from a Stellenbosch perspective, very good on the ball, very patient with the build-up. But if they also get a chance, very good on the counter. A lot of pace that they have available there.
Well, it's going to be a very, very big decider on Saturday when Orlando Pirates, Amapagania, the Sea Rovers, go head-to-head with Stellas. One more thing I forgot to ask. We need your prediction. We need your prediction. And this time, please give us a proper one. Next time when you come here or when we host the round table, we're going to ask you about it.
Yeah, Mr.
It's Orlando Pirates versus Stellenbosch. Kick off 6 o'clock on Saturday.
100%.
By 8 o'clock. Or let's just say 8:30. Who's going to be celebrating?
Well, Mr. E, before we start talking about celebration, let's talk about how Pirates won it in 2022. Very interesting result was just a 1-0 win. Very pragmatic. If we go back to 2023, They also value for money. Just made sure extra time penalties, but that was against Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah.
Stellenbosch is a different animal.
Yeah.
And I think when
beast.
it's a different beast. I think first half will be a 0-0 affair.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of chances missed because I feel like teams
From both ends.
Yeah, they'll get into the box, but
Yeah.
they won't get clear shots.
Yeah.
That's one thing that both these teams are very good at because, like I said, 2 quality centre backs on both sides.
Yeah.
The way they command their defenses with the low blocks, very good. So I think there'll be a lot of shots in the first half, no goals. But I think in the second half, the game will come to life. I think the individual brilliance on the pitch will make the difference.
Yeah.
And overall, I think it's going to be a Stellenbosch win.
Within the 90?
Within the 90.
So we're not going to penalty for penalty shootouts?
No, we're not going to a penalty shootout.
So we are sure that when the game starts at 6 o'clock, by 8 o'clock,
yeah, so Ivala.
that check is going to be
So
presented
Ivala.
to Stellenbosch.
So Ivala. No,
No,
Mr. E,
yeah.
it will be presented to Stellenbosch.
It will be presented to Stellenbosch.
If you look at how when these two teams met in last season's edition of this competition,
Yeah.
Pirates found themselves in a situation where they won the first leg, but second leg became drama
They
because
struggled.
you know they won it 2-1. I mean they lost the first leg.
Yeah.
They
lost.
they won 2-1 and then they lost
the
1-0.
second leg,
Yeah.
1-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So it was 2-2 there to go for.
So
Yeah.
in that perspective, that first leg, you look at it, Stellenbosch had a red card.
Yeah.
They went 2 goals to 1 down.
Yeah.
They lost the match. They come back in the second leg, they win 1-0. It's quite obvious that Stellenbosch has the ability to beat the Pirates. And like Mr. Tisha always says, the only team that can beat the Sundowns this season
Yeah.
is going to be Pirates.
Pirates.
All I'm saying is the only team that is going to beat Orlando Pirates this season
Yeah.
is Stellenbosch. And they've done it twice already. Once in
okay.
the MTN 8 and once in the
when
PSL.
we're talking about this season, Mr. Moore, you're saying Stellenbosch. Is it gonna be the first one to beat Orlando Pirates, or it's gonna be the only team to beat Orlando Pirates?
They're going to be the first one in this fight.
Or it's going to be the first one.
In this fight.
Yeah, I wanted to correct you there because there is another beast that's waking up, which
Chiefs.
is Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah.
There is also Mamelodi Sundowns. Even after the departure of Urulane, I think they still
but
have that quality.
that's
I
another-
think their style
that's a
of
story
play
for another
is still very well. Is still very good.
That's a story
Yes.
for another day when it comes
Those,
to Sundowns.
those are the predictions of Mr. Moore. He's saying, yeah, the MTN 8 Cup is going to
The Western Cape.
the Winelands. And you know what? After winning that, they were going to be drinking all the wine. Let me give you my predictions. I think it's going to come to Gauteng, all the way from Durban. It's going to come to GP, and Orlando Pirates is going to win it. Those are my predictions. You can try, or rather, what do you think is going to happen in that match there? Do you think Orlando Pirates is going to win it, or it's going to be Stellenbosch? But Orlando Pirates, on paper, looks like they're the better team.
On paper.
Yeah, on paper. I don't know which paper, but on paper. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Diski
Mr.
Preview
E,
Show. But before
before
we
you
go,
close.
he's got something to say. Yes.
I see you saying on which paper?
Yeah,
On your bet slip.
on my base, on my bed slip. Yeah,
They're the better team on your bet slip.
don't tell them that I'm gonna place my bait on. Don't man, come on. It's just a paper. The paper, the stats paper. So to speak.
Yes.
Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Diski Preview Show. And by the way, be on the lookout for the round table. That's gonna be our next episode, and we're gonna have the likes of Utisha with Diski. Lenny's gonna be there. I'm gonna be there, and the main man who is currently in the house right now, Mr. Moore, he's gonna be there. We're gonna give you a very, very good taste of South African football.